There are people every now and then where puppeteers, not just me, will nudge each other and say, oh, there's a puppet face. Because some faces are just so distinctive. Most of them at least have a backstory. For instance, when I'm packing up Freedom Star, the Underground Railroad show, I always make sure that I don't pack the bounty hunter next to Gertie, the little slave girl, because I think that would be too cruel to Gertie.
Greetings from Iowa is brought to you by the Gilchrist Foundation, founded by Jocelyn Gilchrist, furthering the philanthropic interests of the Gilchrist family in wildlife and conservation, medical care and social services, the arts and public broadcasting, and disaster relief.
Okay, this is our basement. This is Owlglass Puppetry Center. It has the distinction of being the smallest puppetry center in the smallest town with a puppetry center in the United States. We started in the fall of 1974. These are set pieces from Hansel and Gretel, just for the fun of it. Never thought that we would actually be doing this for anything more than a laugh. This is from the musical Ant, and this is the Army. And then people started getting in touch with us and wanting to pay us to come and do puppet shows. So how are you going to say no to that? This is a Bohemian rod marionette. And we did a production of Stravinsky's Soldier's Tale, and this was the soldier. Till Eulenspiegel was a traveling jester who lived in Germany in the 1300s. His self-imposed mission was that he played tricks on the wealthy and the unscrupulous for the amusement of the poor. I was making puppets to sell at art fairs, and a friend of mine suggested that we do some puppet shows with them.
Reach under that cot, honey. Pull me out a beer.
And then at one point, Terry Jean Breitbach started working with us, and she's the woman that I ended up working with for over 30 years. From the late 70s until the late 90s, we did many, many, many 5-day artist in schools residencies where we'd go into a school and work with 4 core classes that would make puppets with us and then put on a show. That was our bread and butter for about 20 years. Those were incredible programs that were organized and sponsored by the Iowa Arts Council. But that changed over the years, and then you have to figure out how to adapt and do different things. West Liberty is a really interesting little town. It's got a population of about 3,700 now. This is a majority-minority town. It's one of the small towns in Iowa that's increasing in population. And that's largely because we're blessed with a lot of immigrants in this town. The school has a dual language program where the kids can learn Spanish and English simultaneously. In 2007, I got in touch with Ellie Portugal, a puppeteer friend in Mexico, and asked her if she wanted to work on a bilingual show. And we found not only is that a welcome thing here in West Liberty, it's a welcome thing in a lot of communities.
Hey, amigo! Haga su maceta para allá.
Oh, for pity's sake, Senor Cabra.
Since I was a child, I was really in love of puppets. When I finished my career, I say, well, now what I'm going to do? And I say, well, the thing I know is I want to work with children.
Oh, darling.
And then she told me, what about puppets? And say, oh, what a great idea.
A bottle of water? Not just any water. This is a magical water.
It's a very positive way to say things. And you can say strong things with a soft way.
I made my first puppet, I suppose I was about 10 or 11 years old, and it was a witch. My parents were refugees from Nazi Germany, and my mother had had a friend that was a craftswoman in Germany. And after the war, she ordered a set of puppets from this woman. And then when my father died, I was 13 when he died, I inherited the puppets. That's when I started doing puppet shows. These are my father's memoirs. He wrote them in 1943, before the war was even over. I'll show you what's inside. My father had 2 strikes against him. He was the descendant of a very prominent Jewish family. But he was also a Lutheran pastor, and he was active in the underground church that opposed Hitler. I went to the door. Outside stood a stormtrooper. "Are you Paul Leo?" "Yes, I am." "Follow me." He was incarcerated in Buchenwald concentration camp for a few months, and he never knew whether it was for being a Jew or for being a Christian. His former colleagues made so much noise on his behalf that he was released from the concentration camp and given 2 months to get his affairs in order and leave the country. And that's how he came to this country. We've done thousands of puppet shows. I can't tell you how many. A lot of them come from folk tales. The thing I find fascinating about folk tales is that the same story appears in all different cultures in slightly different versions. So, you know, these things go deeper than what country we happen to be growing up in and what culture we happen to live in. Some of the things are just generically human. I don't think children nowadays are any different than they were 30 or 40 years ago. The things around them have changed, but they still get sucked in. They're used to seeing these massive effects in movies. The simplest little thing still wows them. It really hasn't changed. And it's because it's live.